It's Phil here from the Next72Hours team, out and about today in the back garden on what is Eka Day here in Queensland, public holiday for Brisbane, and enjoying a semi-well earned break. Just thought I'd take a look today at making coffee, or Stovetop espresso coffee, on the MSR Whisperlite, and some of the issues with the stove. Not that there's many at all. Probably the only issue is the fact that these legs here are so wide spread out that if you have one of the smaller pots today, like this one here, this is the GSI Halulite Minimalist, or something like this, which is the base to my Stovetop espresso cooker, you'll see that this one barely fits onto these legs here. In fact, it's resting on the top of that fuel line, which is less than ideal. And in the case of this Stovetop espresso here, it's not even resting on any of the legs really, except for balancing on it. So it does not sit on there well at all, which makes it quite dangerous because you're dealing with hot water, boiling water, and flames. So a while ago, a long time ago in fact, MSR put out a small little tool called the Espresso Star, which basically sits on here and creates a smaller inner circle for smaller pots and stovetop espressos, etc., or anything smaller than this sort of size here, to fit on there without resting on that fuel line. They stopped making it practically because they didn't sell enough, and basically because they were too expensive. So last night I took a non-stick baking pan and using a picture of one on the internet, traced it out and cut out my own version. So this is just made from a non-stick baking pan or baking tray. Very, very thin, not ideal at all. Just wanted to see really if I could do it and if it would work. And you see, by putting that on there, it rests nicely on those legs and creates a smaller space here which is above the line, and I can now safely put on my Stovetop espresso, and that's nice and balanced there, or my GSI pot, and that's going to sit there quite nicely. So I thought I'd test it out today and see if it works. I can imagine that it's going to be glowing red hot pretty quickly. It's very thin metal, it's not ideal like I said, and I will be putting up the shield to that fuel bottle because I suspect there'll be a bit of extra heat created around it, seeing as how there's no holes in this to allow any of those flames to come out, and make myself a cup of espresso coffee. So we'll get that set up and Alright, so here the stove is simply priming. There's been a little bit of fuel let down in the bottom here, and that's burning off, allowing all this to heat up. And once that flame almost disappears, we'll turn it on. And you can just hear the power coming out of that stove. That's one of the greatest things about the stove. People don't like the sound, so it's a bit loud, but there's nothing better than the sound of a roaring stove putting out all that heat and power, and there is a lot of heat coming out of it. So what we'll do is we'll just put this makeshift Espresso Star on top there. We'll put our Stovetop espresso on top of that. And we'll let that cook up. See how long that takes. We've got the timer off to the side there, and we'll come back when that's about ready. You'll see that's burning away, and that both the stove and the little Espresso Star makeshift thing there are glowing red hot there. There's quite a bit of heat coming out of that stove, and Just open the old lid up. Alright, here we go, we've got the coffee coming at 1 minute 32 seconds. So we're going to turn that stove off because it doesn't really have much of a simmer function, so that'll keep going long enough to get the heat out into that coffee there. Alright, and there you have it. We'll turn that off because it's about to start splattering all over the place. Take it off the heat. And you'll see that stove's just about to go out there. There you have it, a delicious cup of Brisbane's finest Dramanti espresso coffee with the MSR Whisperlite International and the makeshift Espresso Star there. Thanks for watching. Any queries or questions, feel free to ask. Thanks.